Right. So welcome everybody. Happy new moon. I'm sorry, happy full moon. That's how busy of a day it has been for me. The energies have been very, very intense. I'm going to speak about some of those things. Marinana Jones, and if you're new to these Angelic Global Transmissions, welcome. This has been the first year that I've been doing a series of them on the new moon. Excuse me, my sinuses are tickling. I'm trying not to sneeze. Okay. All right. I don't think I'm going to have to. And this is the first year that Archangel Michael has asked for it to be on these full moons, is what I was saying. So, but it's not the first year of me doing this. Archangel Michael has asked me to do this series of transmissions monthly, at least 2 or 3, definitely 3, or maybe even as four times in recent years. But ever since around 2009, 2010 is my best estimate. I've been doing these at least on the equinoxes and the solstices. So this has been a wonderful journey and experience. And many of the most recent ones are up on the Celestial Voice podcast. So I hope that all of you have had a chance to go and take a look at my website where you signed up. And if not, you can always just go back to annajonesonline.com. And you can click on podcasts, and the Celestial Voice podcast is there, and you can hear all of the messages from Archangel Michael that are really timeless. Just because some of them may have been channeled a while ago or in previous series of messages doesn't mean that there's not truly ancient wisdom that still applies and that will kind of always apply to help us going forward. That's why I use that word timeless. I feel like that it's always, there's things that are in them that's always going to be helpful to us. So the Celestial Voice podcast is where this transmission will also be available as a recording. And I will email everybody who is signed up once that recording is ready. So it takes us a few days because I literally have to go back, listen to the message, figuring out something to title it, write up a description, sometimes even meditate on like what is the key theme or themes in order to be able to do that. So it's usually within no less than 5 days, and usually no more, most of the time, no more than a week. And we try to get out as quickly as possible. So sometimes sooner than others. So that is where it will be found. Now, where do you find the Celestial Voice podcast? You find it on my website, like I said, annajonesonline.com. Click on podcast. It's free. You can even download any of the messages, go back and listen to them again anytime. Those are all free. And you can also find them on Apple Podcasts. Some people still call it iTunes, but iTunes podcasts. And then the newest ones this year, and a couple, and some I believe from last year, but definitely all the newest ones are up on the new YouTube channel for the Celestial Voice podcast. And it's just those, like on that podcast. So on that Celestial Voice, if you just go to YouTube, Celestial Voice podcast with Anna Jones, do a search on that, you'll be able to find it. And the link will also be in the email that I send out to you all. So I have been receiving messages from the angels pretty much my whole life, but I began doing this work professionally after profound spiritual awakening experiences I had at the age of 14 that went on for a few years, and started doing energy work, what I now would have called then spiritual healing, and what I would call now energy healing, that led to getting messages and seeing and feeling and energy and angels and light, and being asked to deliver them to other people, and developing it to the point where it's at today. And there's a process that I'm going to use. That is a process that was given to me by the angels many years ago. Actually, it was in the 1990s, the early to mid 1990s, definitely no later than the mid 1990s. And this process is a process that they said if I always use it, it would always work for making not only the connection with them, but allowing the facilitation of the vocal part of the transmission, the message part of the transmission to come through. So I always use it in the global transmissions in a very, which is what this is. It's for not just those of us even who are listening to this live. It's not just for those who even listen to the podcast. He's literally transmitting not just energy to me and through me, but he's transmitting energy to all of us. He's transmitting energy to the planet, he says at this time. So he wanted that to be amplified on these full moons. So that transmission is going to be coming through, and we're going to be feeling it, and especially I think the amplification of all of these sacred time or natural time occurrences that are aligning right now, and I'm going to talk about some of them. And I'm not going to have too much time to tell much of my story, but so I encourage you to when you're maybe go back on my website and to, if you haven't already, taken a look at the video that is on the homepage. That is an interview that I did for the Shift Network that really describes my life and my beginning, some of my history as being a modern mystic, and being an interfaith minister, being a healer, being this messenger, this trance channel, especially for the angels, but really it could be any for my private sessions with people, because I do this globally, but then the private sessions that I do, it could be your angel or guide, right? And it could be one of your spirit guides. It could be a master of some kind, somebody that's any kind of higher being that's helping you in those private sessions that come through. But for the global transmissions, it's Archangel Michael who literally asks me to do these things. And so when he describes it and it gives me specific detail about it, that's when I set it up. And actually, it's hard to believe, but there's not that many left in this particular series. After this, we only have the September full moon and the October full moon after tonight. That'll be left in this particular series. However, I've been already asking him, do you want to continue on with the full moons? And I'm getting no answer specifically yet, but I sometimes get a feeling that might happen. Like it's getting, I'm just getting a vague feeling. So we'll see where it goes after that October transmission. The last thing I'll say, kind of as a last thing on the announcements list before we dive into talking about the questions, is there are expenses that I incur. It's not just my time and energy that I give to these, but there are expenses that I incur to share these and put this podcast together and to share these messages. It costs money to even send out emails reminding people. Definitely being able to try to get anything with a link on it to be seen on social media. That is also something that is an expense. Processing, etc. There's just different things that are involved with it, time and energy wise. So there's also a link on my website. You'll see that on the bottom of the home page, or you'll see it on the page where you signed up for this event. So in the event section, you'll see this event listed in the event section. And there's a link there for people to make donations if you'd like to support this Celestial Voice podcast and support these transmissions now and for continuing to go forward. That would be wonderful and very much appreciated. Anything that anybody would like to donate would be wonderful. All right, so that finishes the kind of the list of things that I wanted to talk about and announcements I wanted to make. So now I'm going to dive into talking about all of these powerful sacred energies of sacred time that we're experiencing right now. And I'm so appreciative for those of you who are participating live. And it's special when you're participating live when there's this much palpable, powerful, natural energies, what I call natural time, sacred time, natural time of celestial occurrences, cosmological events, planetary energies in advance, lunar energies in advance. They're kind of all in events that are kind of all coinciding right now. There are certain times where it really builds up and there's like kind of a crescendo of like, okay, this is the peak energy that we've experienced thus so far this year, and this is one of those times, right? Like this last like 2-3 days building up to this weekend and past this weekend, at least through the end of this month, but it will start to wane a little bit, as the energies of the moon will wane. The energies of all of this intense thing that has been building will start to weaken some, right? But it still won't going to like completely weaken. It's not like, oh, okay, we're through all of that. It's all said and done. So what are some of those things? What are some of those things influencing us? Because I've been following sacred time, natural time, astrological, cosmological. Cosmology is much more my interest than astrology is. So I'm not going to get into the astrology of the full moon. I don't do that on these messages. However, I encourage you to always go and look it up yourself. And this particular astrology of tonight's full moon, it happens to be one of those times when astronomically it is correct, right? So the sidereal astrology, also known as Vedic astrology, is astronomically correct. And then tropical astrology, also known as Western astrology, is not astronomically correct, but it still very much applies and is very real and very meaningful. And the meaningfulness of like what is like understood and able to kind of gain insights from. And luckily, in both of them, this happens to be one of those times. It doesn't happen all the time, and it definitely doesn't happen regularly, but it happens to be one of those few times where they coincide. And so both of them agree that both astronomically and astrologically in Western astrology, that the moon is in the sign of Aquarius, and it is a good time for breakthrough. I don't know if any of you have been experiencing that. Archangel Michael has been talking about things building up and building up as to whether we're going to have significant breakdowns or breaking through, like we have the opportunity to kind of have things break down, break apart, or break through. And the energies for this particular moon are that Aquarian energy that can help us to like break through into new heights and new levels and into new things if we're willing to adjust, adapt, move with the flow of the energies, right? Move with the flow of them. And breathe at the same time and relax and center ourselves and stay grounded and be really like kind of grounded in our presence so that we can utilize those breakthrough energies. So I won't say any more on the astrology of that. The only thing I'll say further about the full moon itself tonight. It is not a super moon, but it was very, very close to being one. And we will be having some coming up. When the moon is closest to the earth, it amplifies the energy. The full moons amplify energy. All these things that I'm talking about that I'm going to share with you regarding cosmological, sacred, natural time are all things that amplify energy. And what energy? Definitely the energy we put out. The energy we put out through our thoughts, the energy we put out through our words, the energy we put out from our hearts, the energy we put out in our relationships, through our actions, through our doing, all of the energy we put out, definitely, but also collective energy and also karmic energy and destiny energy that's related to our dharma rather than just our karma. So all these energies are going to be, all these things are going to be amplified. In Native American traditions, they usually have some name that they call each particular full moon, and each tribe can have a different name. So there's some, however, that kind of people stick with and they like or it really like resonates with them. I've always resonated with this one being the corn moon, maybe because I grew up in areas where there were lots of cornfields, and this would be the time that the corn was almost ready to eat, or it would even be depending upon how late in the month, when the full moon would fall, right? So this is known as the corn moon, is one of the names because of, again, what's kind of naturally occurring in the world when this particular full moon happens each time. And it is also known as the sturgeon moon. And I've been seeing that that's the one that people are sharing the most and circulating the most as being a time that, I forget which tribe that it was, that it was in the Great Lakes area when the sturgeon would be in their most abundance in the past. That's not necessarily true to this day, but it's when the surgeon would be in their most abundance. So there's all of that related to the moon, and I really recommend that you look it up. And I'm excited about the next full moon, just to kind of give you a little heads up about it. The next full moon is going to be a very powerful full moon lunar eclipse, and that will precede a new moon solar eclipse that will happen two weeks later. So that's kind of something to kind of get excited about for the future. But right, going back to like what's happening right now with all of these energies. So we just had what was called 88 Lions Gates associated with the dog star Sirius and its connection to our star and to our star system, also known as our solar system, and an alignment that they make every year, a significant, powerful connection that they have every year. And each time there's something that we are creating very powerfully, Archangel Michael says, around that, like something that we, like a doorway or something that we are creating. I forget exactly what he called it. And that we're co-creating with each other around this date every year. And then in addition to that, so that's kind of peaked yesterday, there's also holy days within spiritual traditions that are occurring this weekend or this time period in the Vaishnava tradition and Hinduism, for example, a high holy day known as Balaram's appearance, a time for doing service, also a time for us to be receiving teachings from teachers, right? So I'm excited to hear from Archangel Michael tonight regarding that, regarding his teachings and what he has to teach and share with all of us. It's very, very wise teachings that he gives. And then let's see, I'm looking at my list here. We've been having several retrogrades. There's some planets that are going to still stay in retrograde, but the good news is that as of October, I can't even read my handwriting here, August, that's how bad the handwriting is, August 14th, the planet Mercury, which has been in retrograde, is going to station direct. And that's going to help things feel calmer. I don't know if it's happened to any of you. I know that it's happened to a few of my clients that I've been working with in private sessions. But mechanical breakdowns, computer system breakdowns, electrical devices breakdowns. Like I literally had to replace the whole hard drive on my computer this week, and that's not something that normally happens. But boy, it's been amplified by the energies of all these other things. Actually, it's not an ordinary Mercury retrograde because of all of these other things that are also happening. Mercury retrograde is known for those things. It's also known because we have a few more days and because it is kind of making things more intense, because it always is more intense and stressful if we do experience any kind of breakdowns. Even though we got this breakthrough energy of the moon, it kind of like feels like, okay, we're making some breakthroughs, but we're also kind of like falling backwards, and they're having all these kind of breaking apart and breaking down things. So that's going to continue for a few more days. So it's helpful to remember retrograde and that there's more than just Mercury, and that word, anything that starts with RE is appropriate. It's not like you can't do anything that's going to be positive. Like all kinds of positive things can happen during retrogrades, but it tends to be, especially during Mercury retrogrades, a time where we want to relax, revisit, return to, reconnect, those types of things, right? Anything that kind of has that word, that prefix RE in front of it is something that I always tell people. And of course, it's always a good time for finishing things, not necessarily for beginning things, but luckily it's almost over. I have written down here August 14th. I looked these things up. It's confusing sometimes if you're on social media to see things because things aren't always accurate. It's always good to look these things up and be able to find multiple sources that are reliable, especially astronomy-based sources that can, scientifically track these things, and we can then go look at astrology. We can then go look and make sure that we have the understanding that astrology can give us, but we have the accurate the days that are this going on. Because the other thing that's happening, in addition to this full moon, the 8-8, the planetary retrogrades, including Mercury retrograde. The other thing that's happening is there have been a lot of meteor showers. Those are fast moving, very quick shifting energies. And then there is a planetary alignment that is starting to come into place and that will be in place tomorrow, actually by dawn. It'll be in the early dawn, right before sunrise. It'll be visible naked to the eye, but it's going to be for several days. It's not going to be just for one day. That's why I said this, like, this is kind of power packed, because it's not just a planetary alignment of one or two planets. It's not what's called a great planetary alignment. That's all of the planets, but it is called a grand one. And a grand one is 6 planets, and so it's 5 or 6 planets. Sorry, I may have mixed those words up. The grand one is maybe more. I'm not sure which one I actually, again, I wrote this down so fast before I got on. Also, all these energies, I'm so sensitive to them. They keep me awake. I didn't get much sleep last night. I think it was like 4 hours or something. I was getting like all kinds of like spiritual downloads like last night. So I'm so tired tonight. That's also another reason why I'm even making some little mistakes and having some really bad handwriting here on my notes. I was even kind of joking with my husband that I might be doing some sleep trance channeling tonight, because I do know I do have the ability to sleep trance channel in the same way that Edgar Casey did, but I don't remember when I sleep trance channel anything, and the angels have asked me to be a conscious trance channel where I'm in a deep trance state enough to where I'm like completely kind of like putting my energy aside so that the angel's energy can come in, so Archangel Michael's energy can come in, but I'm awake enough to where I'm hearing what's being said at the same time they are hearing it. And I'm also watching, witnessing, observing, feeling anything that may be being said or shown that goes along with the message, or feeling anything that's going along with the message. And they've asked me to be this conscious trance channel, even though I know how to sleep trance. But I happen to say that I've been feeling tired enough today with all these energies and how little sleep that I've been getting, and all this stuff that's been whirling in my life this week. That I was literally joking, like, I wonder if I'll do any sleep channeling tonight. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But back to this planetary alignment, even though it starts tomorrow, it's going to be continuing through to the end of the month. And let's see what the dates are about that. I didn't write down the dates. It's definitely going to be continuing for at least through to the 31st, actually, is what I had written down there. So starting tomorrow, it may not be as visible. The planets are Mercury, Venus, Jupiter. So those are the ones that are going to be visible to the naked eye. Uranus and Neptune, which can be seen with a telescope, and the moon, right? So that's what are involved. So the Mercury, Venus, Jupiter, Uranus, Neptune, and the moon, all in like what appears to be like an arc across the sky, in alignment with each other. And every time planetary alignments that have this many planets involved happen, major stuff happens. Major stuff takes place, even if these other things weren't happening, right? Even if these other things weren't occurring, there are always periods where people are like, what's going on? Why are things so intense lately? And why is there so much happening? Why do things feel weird? Why do I feel weird? Just kind of so many like people like usually end up calling me like or emailing me like, what's going on? So if they don't attend the transmission, they'll probably have to do that. So all that said, you would think, okay, whew, wow, that's a lot of stuff we're experiencing. Is there anything else? The answer is yes. In fact, I'd save the biggest thing for last. And I'm not going to take any questions. I don't take any questions during the time that I'm speaking. I take questions at the end. And after the transmission and everything is over, I'll take questions at the end. So you're welcome to put it in the chat, but I just won't be checking it until I'm done. So I save the largest thing for the end. And it's not something that is just cosmic. Although our planet is part of the cosmos, it's planetary, actually. And the last full moon, we experienced what is considered to be, among scientists, the shortest rotational spin day of since they started tracking it. And I haven't looked up yet when did they start tracking it, but it's in recorded history, and there is a history. It's not like they just started recording these things. And I've been tracking that history for several years now, and just very aware of, like, okay, several years go by and nothing, and then, all of a sudden I'll hear, like, we just had the fastest rotational day, and then there'll be some time period that goes by, and then we'll have another one, and then some time period will go by and we'll have another one. I've never seen three of them back to back in one moon cycle, basically from full moon of last month to full moon tonight and today. Today is the third one that they were predicting. The one on the full moon was the fastest, shortest day. It was still 23 hours, 59 minutes, something seconds, a fraction of a second in that 24-hour rotational spin. But it's enough to throw off, again, sensitive electronics equipment. And there's nothing more sensitive to what the angels say and describe than our own energy fields and our bioenergetic energy fields, our nervous systems, etc. Right? So there's so much with our body, mind, spirit, our energy fields that's extremely sensitive to this. And then it happened again on July 22nd. They were predicting it, and it happened again, and it was registered as the second shortest day. And they were predicting again, so we don't know until we hear what the measurements of whoever's measuring it is. And this is information being put out by astronomers and people who are doing planet research. Geological, I think, and I'm not sure who all the people are that are studying this, but I've verified it from multiple different sources. So it's not like I just saw it online and I'm just like saying this. And so tonight is the full moon again, and tonight is the next one. Now, whether or not, I think the moon they may think the moon has a role in this. I haven't gone that deeply in that. But it is considered to be another time when this faster speeding up of the planet. And Archangel Michael has talked about for years in my channeling work, both in group planetary transmissions like these, and in some people's private sessions, depending upon who they are and what types of questions they've asked and whether they're being influenced, by it. But he says more and more and more, all of us are being influenced by what he refers to as the quickening. And three of these in one moon cycle. And I personally am so sensitive energetically that I've been feeling it in a major way. And my husband and I were just talking about tonight how, we were doing certain things last weekend, and we were like, has it only been a week since that happened? It just feels like things are so sped up. And it's not necessarily time itself that's sped up, it's our movement, literally our movement that has sped up, which, as we're moving through space, even if it's just our own spinning of that space, the space we hold, that is felt like time, because the time-space continuum it's one thing, it's one interconnected thing. So it feels like time itself has sped up, that everything is being quickened. And a lot of people are like, what is this intense energy that I'm feeling? And they'll hear about the planetary alignment, or they'll hear about the full moon or 8/8, and they're like, oh, okay. But it's actually all of it. It's actually all of it. And it's unique. And it's definitely, I don't know what else is coming. I haven't had time to look very far, past like September, early October, as to what's happening cosmologically, astronomically, planetary wise. But some of it we don't know. But it feels like the most intense of the year, maybe building up into next month, which will be eclipse season, and maybe that's when it'll kind of all peak. And do we know if there's going to be any more of these quickened short days. Most recent article I read about it was that yes, they don't have. I haven't seen yet, and again, that doesn't mean it hasn't been put out, but I haven't seen yet any prediction of like exact dates like they had for these. July 22nd and the last full moon and then this full moon. But I did see an article, again from an astronomy source, that was saying that it is predicted to continue to happen, and they don't know for how long, and they don't know much about it, right? So, but I do know that the planet has been seemingly going through some very intense events. We've had in the last definitely 2 months, major 100-year floods. I brought this up the last time, like 100-year floods, once in 100 years, once in like 500-year floods, fires, earthquakes, and literally a tsunami. A volcano eruption. The Ring of Fire is extremely active. The ocean is very, very hot. So there's a lot of earth changes happening during this time period. And I bring up literally the tsunami because I actually wanted to ask Archangel Michael about this. This kind of completes my talking a little bit about all the stuff that is going on right now, cosmologically and planetary wise, with sacred time. But I really wanted to ask Archangel Michael, one, about the quickening, but also he's been using the term throughout this whole series. He started the very first message in this full moon series. He was talking about a tsunami wave of emotions, and that like our emotions are just so strong right now, which is one of the reasons why he wanted to do this series, because the full moons definitely amplify emotions for sure. They're notorious for that affecting us on that emotional level. And so I wanted to ask him if this literal tsunami, that luckily there wasn't very much damage on the Pacific coast and there wasn't much damage to Hawaii with it, but one literally took place, and I was like going, okay, we haven't had a tsunami warning across the Pacific like that since 2011, preceding the major shift that happened, the major shift of the ages that happened in 2012. He started talking a lot more about the quickening during that time period. He's been talking about a tsunami wave of emotions that's literally sweeping the planet, and he's been talking about it every time. I think if I go back and look at the transcripts of these transmissions, referencing it in some way, shape, or form every time. And so I would like to ask him first if he has anything further to say about the quickening and this tsunami wave of emotions, but in specific about it, are our emotions influencing some of these increased earth changes that we're experiencing? I want to ask that quite specifically, actually, because I started to feel like, he's been talking about this, and all of a sudden there is a physical one, right? And so I'm like, okay, maybe we haven't, because he's always trying to help us to change things, prevent things, make things, co-create things in a way that is good and harmonious and in balance. And these messages are very, very powerful for trying to accept our power as the co-creators that we are, to affect change, not just amongst ourselves and in our families, but in our communities, but also in our world and on our planet, right? And with all beings, ultimately, he's described that. So I would just like to put that out there. I have no idea what he's going to say about it, but it's just something that I was like, I wonder if this emotional tsunami is that he's been speaking of, that we're collectively experiencing, and that we are collectively co-creating with how strong our emotions are. And sometimes he's indicating kind of even out of control, because he's kind of teaching us how to shift emotions by transforming them and transmuting them and transcending them. And emotions has been one of his major themes throughout the series thus far. So since the angels told me to never approach them without questions for doing this process that they gave me, I'm going to start putting the questions out there now. And this is one of the questions that I have about the quickening itself. Anything further that we should know? Anything further that we should do as co-creators in this reality, other than the work that he's obviously telling us about the emotions? He's been speaking about at least one or more emotion every month. Last month, he was speaking about shame and blame and guilt and how they erode our self-worth. A very powerful message on that. If that's something you haven't listened to yet, there's a lot in there on that subject. And I forget what I called it. I think I put the title of energy. Oh, emotion equals emotion is energy in motion is, and it's at the top of the podcast list, that most recent one on that subject. So also ask him what emotions he might want to speak further about. Is there certain emotions we really do need to like work on, like collectively, that if we work on them it's going to help the collective in a major way, the collective energy field that we are a part of and that we're a part of on the planet. Those are my personal questions. I also receive from the Archangel Michael study group members. Anybody who's a part of the study group is welcome to submit questions that I ask during these transmissions, and they're all questions that can benefit all of us. I've been leading a study group every month, and it's still something that's open to everybody to participate. If you're interested, again, just go to the website events page, and you'll see it on there. But the study group members, that we study these messages every month, right? So we just got done studying the message from last month, and now we're getting this new message that we'll study in the next study group. And so I did get 3 questions submitted by the study group member. And the one question ties in somewhat to what I was just asking about the quickening, planetary shifts, the emotional tsunami, whether it's affecting the planet in any way, if there's anything we can do about that, because it ties into the planet and the beings of the planet. And the question is, a news story came out this week about the blue whales going silent. When I looked that up, it seems to be the blue whales off of the California coast specifically that they've noticed that they are just not singing. So can Archangel Michael speak on this and how, as a collective, we can help the whales? I'm also very concerned about this and would like to have any answer that he would like to give us. And I would add to that anything else, like I just said, that can help the planet in general right now and help all of us go through these very intense times. He said that these would be, at the beginning of this series, he said is also his theme is navigating these uncertain times. The whole series would be about this, right? So he's right. I mean, there's so many ways in our lives and in our world that we're navigating uncertain times and uncertain waters. So a couple other questions got submitted here. And one of them got asked last time. I think it's even been asked maybe even in previous series, but can Archangel Michael tell us what names he is known by in other cultures and religions of the world? Anything he would like to have us know about that? He's revealed through the channeling work that I have done that these higher beings that we refer to as archangels are known in every tradition of the world. They're just known by different names, and they basically kind of appear differently according to each culture and what the culture is, what the culture represents, that kind of thing. So yeah, always fascinating to learn more about Archangel Michael. I find that he doesn't like to talk to him about himself very much. I always find if we're ever in a situation where maybe there'll be like some Raphael transmissions or something like that coming up again, I would love to start those. But Archangel Michael is kind of continuing to want his to come through. I always find it's always better to ask the other angels about Archangel Michael. He doesn't like to speak too much about himself. That's part of his humility, I feel. But we'll see. We'll see what he says. We'll put it out there anyway, right? So we just kind of put these questions out there as like an open inquiry with no strings attached, no attachment to whether he answers them or not. And he may have something else entirely that he goes off to say. And then the final question that got submitted from the study group is, how can empaths use movement practices. So he talked about movement practices quite extensively in that last message. It was a very, very good message on this subject. Such movement practice such as Kundalini Yoga and sacred dance more consciously to transmit, transmute, and transform energies taken on from the collective for the highest good of all. Can he share more on a deeper level about these dynamics and practices? Are there any conscious movement practices Archangel Michael may recommend, along with yoga, conscious dancing, and other things that he spoke about last time? So those are the questions, mine and the study group questions. And if anybody else submitted anything from the study group, I apologize. I looked at the email 3 times today and didn't see anything else show up. So if there was something, please resend it, and we'll make sure that it gets asked next time. All right, so let's talk about the process we're going to use to be able to receive the transmission. So we've done part of the process just by putting the questions out there, because they told me never to approach and begin this formal process without questions, never to approach them even in the private reading sessions. The questions always come first. They're just in the private readings. They're your questions, right? So the next steps there's 4 things that are done in 5 steps, and you can think of it as a circle. And they said always use it, and so I keep always using it. The first thing is praising, asking, thanking, receiving, and then back to praising again. So we're just gonna do this circle, basically. We're gonna complete a circle together, right? We're gonna do this circle together. The praise chant was actually also given to me when they gave me this process. They said whichever angel was wanting to invoke to use the name of that angel at the beginning and at the end of the praise chant. So, and the name that I use for the pronunciation, I should say, for Archangel Michael is there's many different pronunciations around the world based on different languages. Miguel, Michel, I mean, the different parts of the world, different languages, different pronunciations. But the pronunciation that I use for this is Michael. And so it's Michael, 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 Adonai, Elohim, which are 2 ancient Hebrew names for God. And the Elohim also is the God's energy plural, and the angels always say that always includes them, that they are part of the Elohim. They are part of God's expanded energy. And so Adonai Elohim, and then Adonai Eloheinu, and then Mikael, Mikael, Mikael. So that's the praise chant. And if I were doing Raphael, I would do Raphael, 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 and leave out the Michael part, right? So if I were doing Uriel or any of the other ones, right? Any of the other ones that I also channel, I don't just channel Archangel Michael. Like I said, it's really a variety of different beings. And the way my particular ability works in one-on-one is like, it's whoever is working with you that has the ability to come through. So that's the praise chant. And then we'll go from the praising, and I'll guide us through. We'll go from the praising into the asking. That's more of like a formal kind of prayer type of thing, where I'll prompt you to ask certain things and invoke in a certain way, and just silently kind of do that. You can do the praise chant silently too if you're someplace where you don't have the privacy, but you have the privacy in this Zoom. I'm not even hearing anybody or seeing anybody. Nobody is going to be hearing you or seeing you. So if you're in the privacy somewhere where you want to do the praise chant out loud, please join in doing it out loud. But it's always best to participate in these things. Archangel Michael wants people to participate in this. You're going to get the most out of it, not just be a listener, not just be a watcher, but be a participant, right? Like be a receiver of everything that he has to transmit, not just the message, because he has energy to transmit directly to you. So if you go through this whole process that I'm going to guide us through, including this asking, which is this invocation part of the prayer, and just kind of say it along with me, and in whatever way feels right to you. You don't have to use my exact words. I don't do it that way, actually. But just kind of follow along through my prompts as to invoking him kind of in a more formal way. So we got the praise chant, which is actually just an expression of love. It's a kind of a heart-centered, heartfelt, heart connection. I feel that happens in the praise work. and then that invocation prayer, the asking, and then the thanking, which is gratitude, which also opens our heart and begins to align us and opens us to receive in actually very, very profound ways. And there'll be some gratitude, just again, prompts that I'll make for you to either do gratitude intentions or affirmations or prayers, whatever helps you to kind of move into gratitude. So that's the thanking part. And then we'll go into the receiving, the heart kind of prepping everything for the receiving. And the receiving, you're just asked by Archangel Michael to relax and just be in a kind of a meditative state. Your meditation is a listening meditation. Some people go deeper than that. If you are sleepy and it's late back east or some other part of the world that you may be joining in on the Zoom from, it's best to do this awake. And it's best to do it if you can maybe sit up if you're too tired. However, if you fall asleep, no worries. It's not like, oh, I fell asleep, there's something horrible. No, no. It's a beautiful experience for people who fall asleep, and maybe that's what you're meant to experience. And you'll always have the recording once it gets posted up on the podcast in order to be able to kind of go back in and finish receiving the message. And the energy does transform and transcend and transmit through on the recordings. And of course, you can still invoke Archangel Michael and he can still be working with you in all kinds of ways through the recordings. It's just you don't get the benefit of doing it at these high peak times, right? The benefit of sacred work, yes, you'll get that. Sacred alignment with the angels, yes, you'll get that. But through the recordings, you don't get the sacred alignment with the sacred space and the sacred time. You don't get the sacred alignment, these special energies. So again, those of you who attend it live, that's the extra benefit that you get, right? And so it can feel more powerful by attending these things. All right, so please participate as we're going to go through it now. Just bear with me one moment. I'm going to get a sip of water, check the recordings, make sure they're all running. Yep. Okay. So we're going to sit back, make ourselves comfortable. We're going to close our eyes. We're going to begin first by just taking some long, slow, deep breaths to center ourselves for this practice. And now I'm going to begin the praise chant and ask you to follow along with me. You can do it out loud or silently, but please join in. Mikael, Adonai Elohim, Adonai Eloheinu, Mikael, 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 Adonai Elohim, Adonai Eloheinu, Mikael, 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 Adonai Elohim, Adonai Eloheinu, Michael, 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 Adonai Elohim, Adonai Eloheinu, Michael, 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 Adonai Elohim, Adonai Eloheinu, Michael, Michael, Michael. Deep inhale. And let your breathing relax. We're going to go from the praising to the asking. This is the invocation more formally. So, whatever way feels right to you, I want you to silently now join me in prayer. Silently, let us all call upon the presence of divine love and divine light, again, in whatever way feels right to each person individually. And let's ask to be personally protected and connected by divine love and divine light. But let's also ask to be collectively connected through time and space in a circle of love, in a circle of light, connected to Archangel Michael, protected by Archangel Michael, for whomever we are and wherever we are, collectively. And then I want you to silently invoke Archangel Michael directly by name in whatever way, again, feels right to you. But invoking him by name, asking him to be in our circle of love and light and protection, both personal and collectively. Asking him to be fully present with us and all upon the earth, here and now. And again, let's silently ask him to bring through the global transmission that he is asked to deliver on this full moon. Let's ask him to hear the questions and concerns that I have verbalized and put forth on all of our behalf, to give us any answers or guidance or insight that he can about any or all of those things. But then let's silently, again, in whatever way feels right to you, give permission to him to speak freely to us and to all who will be hearing this message. Anything that he feels is for our highest good to know and for the highest good of all beings. Now we're moving from the asking to the thanking. So the next step, we want to breathe into our hearts and open our hearts, fill our hearts with gratitude. First, gratitude for Archangel Michael, for all of who he is that's known to us and that's unknown to us. There are many things that are unknown to us. And gratitude for all that he does, known to us, and the vast majority that's unknown to us. So let's offer our thanks and our gratitude and send that out in whatever way feels right to you. And then the next gratitude intentions or prayers or affirmations, however you want to send it out, is to send out our gratitude directly to the divine, the source of all that is, for all of the blessings in our personal lives, but really for the blessings of this world and all of the blessings of life itself. And we're going to deepen our breathing one more time, this time finishing with the gratitude and letting the breath help us to relax into a meditative listening state, where I want you to just relax, open, receive any and everything not only Archangel Michael has to say through the vocal part of the transmission, but anything that he wants to send to you directly or that he's sending through all of us. I'm going to go deeper now into my silent meditation until the next words will be the message coming through the vocal part of the transmission. Like the moon rising throughout the course of this night in its fullness, I rise now in my fullness to transmit a full transmission that goes far beyond these words. And yes, that transmission, it is because of all that is happening and occurring that I have asked for it to be now. The full moons are not just powerful at amplifying your emotions this year. They are very powerful at amplifying the shifts that are happening and the energies that are coming in and literally moving things faster, literally moving the planet faster. The energies of what I have referred to of the quickening. And yes, there is a lunar connection to those energies, but it is not just that. Not at all. There are cosmic energies from multiple different sources that are a part of it. On all of the teachings that I have given throughout the years through this channel, and there have been others also, I have transmitted information to and through using similar language or similar terminology on the subject of the quickening. I have always said that it is a natural occurring phenomena. I will repeat it. It is a natural occurring phenomena. It is nothing to fear. It is nothing to overreact to, but it is also nothing to ignore. Just as it must not be feared, and there must not be emotional overreactions to it that can amplify it. Yes, your energies can contribute to it and amplify it. Your actions, your words, your deeds, everything. You are, you vibrate, you do, adds to those energies. But while I have said it is a naturally occurring phenomenon, I have also said that it is best to align yourselves with these energies. That doesn't mean that you have to understand them all. One of the reasons why I have used the term wave is to help you to understand the fluidity of the quickening. The energies involved coming from multiple different sources, not just in the immediate cosmos around you even. Not even in all of the things that you know and that you have heard about. Do all of the energies come forth? Those energies that are naturally occurring, moving with them, flowing with them. Does that mean that everything happens during these times that you live in that are uncertain, that you have to agree with it or go along with it? No, that's not what it means. Does it mean you have to all agree with each other or like each other? No, you don't have to like the things that are happening. You don't have to like some of the things that you are seeing happening and manifesting in your world and every other person. Liking is something that's very much a part of your personality and your personality preferences and the way that your mind and your ego works and gets involved. Your intellect can also sometimes play a role in this process. But the flow, while it may not always be things that you like, and it may not always bring about things that you like, and you can definitely do things to change that. If you find yourself in relationships right now that you don't like, if you see things happening in your communities, in your nation, in your world that you don't like, you can always, always do things to change that. That is not what I mean when I say align with it and move with it, flow with it. Take this energy and actually use it. Use it as the co-creator that you are. Consciously, intentionally, with pure intention and with virtue, as I have spoken a great deal on the subject of virtues. And I still have more to say on the subject of virtues, as I still have not revealed all of the teachings that I have to give on the 44 virtues that are the energies that you have to co-create with, that come directly from the divine. Aligning with, moving with, flowing with the quickening means moving that energy through your bodies. And I have been speaking in this series thus far about all of your bodies, not just your physical body, but your mental body, your emotional body, and your spiritual body of your spirit. And then there is your true form, your eternal form, the form that we refer to as your true self, your true identity, that we refer to as your soul. And as the highest amongst the archangels. All of this that I have just stated concerns me, doesn't fear me. I am not afraid, does not worry me. I do not put that active fear or that fear into action or into that active form. But I do take it seriously and yet lightly at the same time. Because the seriousness of these things does not always have to be heavy. And the more you move with the energy, align with the energy, flow with the energy to co-create what you want to co-create in the world, and to co-create from a place of love and virtue, and to co-create a love-based culture and a love-based world. You move those energies through you, through all of your bodies, the physical, the mental, the emotional, the spiritual body, that are all vessels and vehicles for your eternal soul, the eternal aspect of who you are, part of who you are, the eternal identity, true identity. And it's time to break through more and more to identifying the soul and all of these opportunities, all of the energies coming in, everything that is happening with the quickening is to help you advance ultimately. Does that mean that it all has to happen the way that it is happening? Absolutely not. And when I say align, during times when there are great energies, naturally occurring ones, but powerful ones, impacting and influencing the planet, changing, transforming, transmuting, transcending the planet, it is best to care for it during such times. It is best to treat it with love and respect, care, and support during these times, like you would support anyone whom you love and care for, who is going through a major transformation and transitioning. You would want to do that, whether it be for a good friend or whether it be for a loved one. The earth, often referred to as Mother Earth, is one of the greatest loved ones in your life. Mother Earth. As a mother, as your mother, who nurtures all, who gives so much to all. She is worthy and deserving of your love, of your care, of your respect, of your nurturing, of your support. And that doesn't have to be conditional. It doesn't matter what other people are doing or not doing. That doesn't have to stop you or hold you back. It doesn't matter if others are not, or even if anybody else doesn't even think this or believe this. It doesn't matter. When it comes to your actions, does it matter in the bigger scope and scale of things? Yes, but it still doesn't matter when it comes to your choices, your decisions, the things you choose, the things you do with your life, with your energy, with the way that you are living and being upon the earth, the way that you give and receive from your Mother Earth, who is going to continue to give unconditionally. And you are going to continue to receive unconditionally from her. But there's more to give. Spiritually, on the spiritual level, every prayer, every ritual, every ceremony, any planetary healing work that can be done, that you choose to do on the spiritual level, on the energetic level, there are certain times where it is more potent, it is more powerful to do so. And right now, through to the fall equinox, is one of those times where the benefit of anything and everything that you do for the planet on the spiritual level, on the energetic level spiritually, will be exponentially amplified. The things that are part of the cosmological influences that this channel has just described to you, those things all affecting the planetary shifts taking place, yes. And it's not just an amplification of one or two or three times. You truly don't understand quantum entanglement yet. When you do, you'll understand how much more profound it is than me just saying it's exponentially amplified. But those are the best terms that I can use that perhaps you can get a feel for, a sense for. In addition to spiritual work, choices that you might make for any changes that you can make in your life. Sometimes it's just a little thing There's so much information out there for you to use to help you to choose from. What might be something realistic that you could do in your daily life, or do in volunteer work, or give in any other way? Because there is an imbalance between the giving and the receiving. All of you receive far more than you give back from the Mother Earth, from the air that you are breathing right now, to the minerals that are making up your bones and pumping through your blood, to all of the other biochemicals required for your life, shelter that's required for your life, water that's required for your life. The list could go on and on. I literally could spend hours and hours and hours, I kid you not, making a list of all of the things you receive from the earth that gives you all that you have. And of course, that is not to say that the earth is the source of all of it. You're also receiving that directly from the divine through the earth. But through the earth and from the earth. And so I ask all of you who are receiving this vocal transmission, do prayer, do ritual, do ceremony, do meditations for planetary healing, for helping, assisting the elements, harmonizing them, grounding, stabilizing the energies of the earth. Indeed, you can use your energies to try to stabilize the energies of the earth during this time period. An immense amount of unstable emotional energy is not helping right now. This is true. Tsunami waves of uncontrolled, unstable emotional energy waves, and their energy waves that I'm speaking of, they are amplifying the earth changes. You are not separate from the earth. Your energy field is not separate from the earth. Your energy field is not separate from the cosmos. It's not the same as your energy field is your field, but it is a part of an interconnected field upon field upon field upon field of energy that is all one field of energy, ultimately whole and complete. And the more you understand about the scientific phenomena called quantum entanglement, you'll understand so much more about what I'm saying. And your scientists have had breakthroughs lately, helping you to understand that what you do to each other, what you do to the least of your brothers, to the least of those amongst you, and this does not even just mean people. It doesn't say what you do to the people around you, or the least of people, least of those. You do unto yourselves, you do unto yourself, and you do unto the divine. And this is just one way of stating many other ways that the universal laws can be communicated. And that quantum entanglement can be understood. Quantum entanglement has been proven again and again and again in your most advanced physics, known as quantum physics. That when two things align, no matter how far apart they may seem, no matter how separate they may seem, when there is a shift that occurs in one, there is a shift that occurs in the other simultaneously at the exact same time. Not later, not with a time delay, not after the speed of light. At the same time. But the breakthroughs that are starting to happen, which coincide with my teachings, which coincide with the teachings of the ancients and what ancients have always known, and many, many ancient cultures have understood this, many, many ancient indigenous peoples have understood this, is that you have a web of life, a circle of life, a shield of life, whatever terminology you want to use, one collective field of individual fields. The flower of life symbol also represents the individual circles that are all interconnected with each other, intertwined with each other as one. As one. But that connection exists already within the whole. This quantum entanglement is beginning to be understood that it's not just one or two or three particles that get aligned, but there is an alignment already existing amongst all in the one field of wholeness and the one presence. And that I have also described existing within the one heart that is the heart of God, the heart of the divine, the heart of the source of all creation, of all that is. And so you may feel like you're a small part of this quantum entanglement, and you're just a small part of this vastness that I am talking about. But it doesn't take a lot to shift. And in quantum entanglement, if one particle shifts, the other shifts. And as they begin to discover more and more, as one particle shifts, it shifts the whole. So any changes you make in yourself, any changes you make in your life, any changes you help others to facilitate, anything you do for any other species, any other beings, that's a shift. That's you as a particle in this whole. That's also a wave within this whole, using those scientific terminologies to help you to understand. Impacting the whole of creation as a co-creator that you are. And it doesn't just shift just the little energy fields around you. It shifts the whole. And one important thing to understand about the quickening, about the great shift of the ages that is Indeed, the quickening is a part of one thing that you need to understand about all astrological events, cosmological events, is yes, they are influencing the whole, but you do not just experience them and feel the impacts of them and just get influenced by them. Your response, your reaction, what you do with those energies also plays a role. They're not just things that are happening to you. And that's very, very important to always remember, because there's going to be more. The quickening is going to continue. And even when it slows, there'll be another phase that will begin later on. It will slow. It won't stop, but it will slow. But then it will speed up more. And it's not just the energy fields and the energy of the planet itself. It's your energy fields. It's your auras. It's your chakras. They are being quickened. Is this something to fear? No. Is this also something to think that, oh, this is just everything that we've been waiting for, and prophecy revealed, and prophecy made complete, and so I don't have to do anything other than just stand back and watch it make it happen? No. Are these times of prophecy? Yes. Will there be more future times of prophecy? Yes. Will there be prophecies upon those prophecies upon those prophecies that continue to unfold? Yes. Is this the end of time? No. There is no end. There's no end to anything. You do not end, you do not cease to be. The earth does not end, the earth does not cease to be. Even the beings, the species that have become extinct, they do not end and cease to be. They have moved on. Does that mean that it's okay to let all other species do that? No. Are there certain species that are very important for the health of the planet? Yes. Yes. The pollinators, as many of you have been learning, that I spoke about and revealed in the first book and series of messages that I spoke through this channel and asked her to publish under the title of the teachings of Archangel Michael. I spoke about the butterflies and the need to protect them. And since then, also the bees. And that there are indeed things that you can do spiritually, energetically, through things that you can plant and things that you can help others to plant. There are actions and there are energies that can go to contributing to helping them. I also spoke about in those transmissions that I asked to be published in that book, the whales and the need to protect them. I also spoke about other ancient guardians, such as the giant redwoods and the giant sequoias and other ancient guardians amongst the tree nations, as the indigenous people call them. They're your relatives, yes. This ancient concept is being proven more and more correct every day, because it is true. These ancient ones, and ancient ones that are also part of the mineral kingdom, some of which Archangel Raphael has spoken about through this channel, through the crystalline transmissions, and some of which will still be coming. That anchor of vibrational stability, so to speak, for lack of a better word in your English language. And yet, it doesn't just play a role in stabilizing your ecosystems and providing stable life in your forests, in your oceans, in your gardens, in your agriculture and ecosystems. These ecosystem stabilizers ultimately go beyond the list that I'm speaking of. Some have already transitioned from the planet. I also spoke about long ago, and it has not been released publicly, in a message that I've given through this channel, but there has been some of it that have come through in some of the transmissions. The role that you play spiritually, the relationship you have spiritually, and the role that you play spiritually as one of these ecosystem stabilizers. But you don't just play a role as a stabilizer, you are a transformer. The humankind species has the potential and possibility to be stabilizers and so much more. Transformers. So your species is amongst them. What I have said about this is that each one of these species needs love. Each one of them also needs to know that they are needed, just like all other beings, just like human beings. Every human being needs to know that they are needed, that they are wanted, that they are appreciated, that they are loved. And I am encouraging you all that no matter what other things you do, to make sure that you are communicating that to these ecosystem stabilizers, these ecosystem key species, the ones I have spoken of and listed, and just send it out to all who play that role. You can just say a prayer or send out intentions or make decrees in the way that I am describing here, directly to them, or just communicate, which is even better because you have that ability to communicate from your heart to their heart. You have the ability to communicate from your heart to the heart of humanity, and you have the ability to communicate from your heart to the heart of all species upon the earth, to the heart of the earth itself. Communicate to those species, all of which are essential, first to all of them, and let them know that they are all wanted. They are all needed. They are all appreciated. How grateful you are for all of them and that you love them. This work is best done in person. It is best done in private. It can be done in groups, and it is amplified in groups even more. And it can be done at a distance through those groups. But it is not as easy. There are unique challenges to doing it, but it can be done. Everything is possible. And you can communicate from your heart to the heart of specific species. And this brings me to the question asked about the blue whale and the whale songs. It's not just the blue whale that sings the whale songs. Other whales do as well. They each are frequency transmitters. Their frequencies are believed to be part of the way they communicate, and indeed, it is part of an intricate, elaborate communication system. But they're also believed to be more because it is. There's more to it than that. Many of you heard about the energy lines of the earth, the energy meridians of the earth, the energy chakras of the earth, of which many sacred sites are available and accessible to you upon those meridians, upon those vortex centers and chakra centers. But what is lesser known? That along with the crystalline matrix, that also runs through the earth and transfers and transmits and plays many essential roles. Powerful frequencies move. Everything that is a part of your technology right now is made possible from what you have been able to create from that which you know about the crystalline matrix, and there is still so much more that you do not know. Some of that will be returning, some of that knowledge will come forth again. There are certain frequencies that move through it. Creating what some have referred to as song lines. Some have referred to it as the sound field that moves through that crystalline matrix and beyond. It doesn't just stay there. It transmits out. The whales, all of them, and their songs transmit through those song lines, their frequencies through those sound fields. It has a stabilizing effect for the planet. So yes, it is of concern. If if they stop singing? Can they start again? Yes. Do they need to be sent love and light and encouragement and gratitude? Yes. They also need for healing energy to be sent to the oceans. There are multiple reasons why they are not singing as much right now. And some have stopped singing completely. One of those reasons is physiological. It is not the only reason, as what I have also stated is essential. They need to know from all of you, from anyone and everyone who they share this world with, they need support. They need that love. They need that gratitude. They literally need to be told that they are needed here. They are wanted here. With sending healing energy to the oceans and doing anything in support of the oceans. It cannot be taken for granted. It has happened too much. The waters are so warm for them. And yes, they are also being affected by the natural occurring phenomena that is also taking place. There's the natural occurring phenomena, and then there's your energetic co-creation with it and to it. And I'm going to speak of the emotion and the emotions that stop oftentimes those of you from feeling any of what I'm describing, perceiving, paying more attention. And even if you do know and you feel and you perceive, perhaps from feeling too overwhelmed, there is a series of emotions. Very much a part of that emotional energy wave I am referring to as the emotional tsunami sweeping through the energy fields. And yes, that affects the whales too. The emotion of overwhelm in and of itself, because it can all feel emotionally so overwhelming, so much bigger than you individually. It can make you feel like you're so overwhelmed that there's nothing you can do. Or even if you believe that there is, it can freeze you from feeling that you even have the energy to try or to do anything more or to do anything further, because the emotion of overwhelm drains you of your energy very much. Very much. You do not feel overwhelmed because you are drained. You are being drained by the emotion of overwhelm, and it starts in your nervous systems before you even feel it on that emotional level, because you feel far, far more than you emote. You feel the energies. of everything around you. Empaths feel it more. Empaths are more aware of it. Like what the coal miners used to refer to as the canaries that they would take with them in the coal mines. They are the sensitives. But are they the only ones feeling it? Are they the only ones experiencing the energy? Absolutely not. No. You are all part of this one field I described at the beginning of the message. You all feel it in your nervous systems. Your nervous systems feel the immensity of everything going on in your world. And is that only applying to people who are aware? No. Is that only applying to the people who believe anything that I'm saying? No. It doesn't require belief. Someone could believe the exact opposite of everything that I have said in this message today, and it's still affecting their nervous systems. You're all feeling it in your nervous systems. And you feel through your nervous systems energy in whole other ways physically. You'll also feel it in your spirit. And you feel it in your mind in the way that the mind becomes overstimulated and feels a need to become overactive. Because the more overactive it becomes, the more it can ignore what the nervous system is experiencing and what the spiritual body is also experiencing. So your energy anatomy and the ways that you experience it in your energy anatomy. But you are not powerless. As overwhelming as it may seem and as it may feel, you are not powerless. And it does not have to consume you, because the feeling of overwhelm can consume you to the point where you just stop. You just block things out, tune things out, push things out, push things away, or go into fear or some other emotion that's more familiar and maybe that you can feel that you can handle more because of your familiarity with it. Be present to it. Just as I'm asking you to be present to all of your emotions. Be present to the overwhelm that I am describing. Any way it vibrates in your nervous system, any way it may be affecting an energetic drain in your energy system. Blocking it out, tuning it out, getting the mind overactive, or staying just busy, constantly, all the time, just acting, doing, does not make it go away. Emoting it also does not make it go away. There are certain virtues, however, that can totally transmute it, completely transform it, and help you to transcend and transfigure it into something else entirely. Some of those virtues are persistence, which I have also referred to as perseverance. the virtue of perseverance used to transmute and transform that energy and emotion that it does get emoted of overwhelm. Also, faith, the virtue of faith. And even if you're feeling so overwhelmed that you do feel that you are powerless, it's a great opportunity to use the virtue of surrender and realize that even though you are a powerful co-creator in this world, you are only a co-creator. You are not powerless, and neither is all that you are co-creating with and the creator that all are co-creating because of and in loving relationship with. But using faith does not mean that you can just say you have faith that it's all going to work out for the highest good, because the divine will always assure that the highest good will be done. This is true. But that truth does not negate your truth. And your truth is that you did come here to co-create a love-based life on earth, a love-based culture on earth, to remember heaven on earth, what has been described as the kingdom of heaven that lives within all of you. All of you, not just certain ones, not just an exclusive few, all of you. Surrendering the apathy that can also be an emotion that comes with the overwhelm. And there is a great deal of apathy being emoted right now, and that are part of that energetic wave, that energetic tsunami that I have described. It is not gone, it is not dissipated. Has it changed? Yes. Does it change every single time I and every one of the angels do what we are doing? Yes. We are playing our role and we are doing our part in mass, as I revealed earlier in this series of transmissions. We are even appearing more and more to play our role and do our part. But we can't play yours. That's why faith cannot be used as an excuse to not do your role, play your part. Each of you different. I've spoken many times, and I will speak many times forward again on the subject of destiny. The things that you've written into your soul contracts, karmically, long time ago, dharmically, for this time period now. And I will encourage you again. You don't have to play anybody else's role. You don't have to play anybody else's part. But you need to be who you are. Be true to yourselves. Play your role. Do your part. And listen to your heart, and you will know. Follow it, and you will know. The soul that guides from within, the super soul that guides from within, that is the divine presence residing in you, will guide the way and will do the rest. But there is another virtue that I have not spoken about yet. a virtue that many of you have a reaction even to the word that is not always an appropriate reaction. Many of you define it differently, very differently than the way that I define it. So I'm going to use two words to define it. That virtue is the virtue of discipline. But I'm also going to refer to it as accountability so that it helps make it clearer. Using the virtue of discipline to help you with transforming, transmuting, moving those energies, especially as you emote them, the emotions they become of overwhelm, the emotions they become of apathy. Discipline. Some understand it for what it really is and are able to relate well to the word and to the term and tune into the virtue of the energy more easily than others. But the reason why there's such a great misunderstanding about it is because it has also been used, especially in the English language. The word discipline in English to refer to punishment or to be thought of as some form or kind of punishment. And it's actually why some of you greatly resist discipline in your lives, and why some of you greatly resist using and tuning into the virtue of discipline for your innermost self and the way that you make choices and what you do for even self-care or nurturing yourself or caring for yourself. Even self-discipline can be rejected, especially by those who have had trauma, those who have interpreted the virtue of discipline and used a shadow understanding of it, not the energy of the virtue itself, but a shadow projection of it to hurt and to harm others by calling that punishment disciplinary. And I'm not just talking about hard punishment, painful, traumatic punishment, like some of what you are seeing happening in the world around you. I'm referring to other milder ways that it can also take place too. Do you all need discipline in your lives? Absolutely. The virtue of it, yes. Every single one of you, all of creation, because it is a divine energy that is everywhere, all around you and within you. So you all need it, and you all have it. Are you using it? How are you using it? Are you rejecting it? Are you projecting it into some other shadow manifestation that the virtue is not? It's not the virtue any longer. Not anymore, once it's been projected into some completely different shadow manifestation. This is why I've also chosen to use the word accountability to help you reframe it, reclaim it, reclaim that sacred virtue of discipline in your lives. If you make disciplined choices as to what you do with your money and what you invest it in and with your time and what you invest it in, if you make disciplined choices about your self-care and you make disciplined choices about everything that you do for pleasure and for work, knowing that everything is energy and everything has an impact on the whole. And you're disciplined in that, using the other virtues as well along with it to create a sustainable joy, a sustainable abundance, a sustainable peace, a sustainable life that's meaningful and rewarding and fulfilling on the deepest core level of who you are. The world will be a different place. It will be such a better place. There's the discipline that you have to have for yourself and using that virtue for yourself. And there's also the choices that you have to make in using discipline, using that for others. How do you discipline your children when they do things wrong? Holding them accountable? Yes. Accountability that actually is meaningful and teaches a lesson? Always best. Discipline that allows you to learn and grow and evolve. That is accountability that always allows for progression forward. How do you choose to apply discipline into your world, into your society? Is it punishment? Is that your role? Is that your place? The universal laws were created for a reason, and your man-made laws were created for that reason. And those laws mirror the universal laws in some ways. They need to be perfected. They need to be brought into a higher state, is what I intend and mean to say about that. Because they are not perfect. But in their highest intention and their highest expression, your man-made system of laws is created for accountability. And if it's accountability that allows for someone to be truly able to learn their lesson, then it helps you all advance. And there are many different factors involved in this, and I know that it is extremely complex, believe me. I know just how much more complex it is than any of you even know. Because I work with all of that shadow energy and all of that shadow force and all of the shadow forces and entities that aren't even a part of your corporeal world, but that are influencing the world. To know just how complex that is. This is why compassion and empathy, and yes, love, must be applied with it. And sometimes the most loving thing you can do is hold someone accountable. Use disciplinary action in a way that is true accountability, that can hold somebody accountable. But it's not just punishment, it's not punishment because of your anger or sorrow or grief. So there's ways that you must discipline yourselves, hold yourselves accountable. And the ways that you must do this in your world, yes, use this virtue to co-create. But ultimately, you also must remember the universal laws are there. The universal laws cannot be broken. The universal law of karma, for example, every action has a reaction. Every energy that goes out ripples back because it moves through the whole and you're part of the whole. Is that punishment? No. Does it teach you great lessons? Yes. And am I speaking only of what people refer to as negative karma or the karma that you don't like? No. I am also speaking of what people refer to as good karma. It ripples out into the whole. And since you're part of that whole, it ripples back. It returns to you as well. Tenfold, 100-fold, 1,000-fold. There's so much to it. You can use the virtues for discipline and accountability in your own life and in your cultures. But they have to be used with the other virtues as well. Without empathy, retribution can take place. And that creates karma in a whole other way. And it's a karmic loop that just continues. Retaliation after retaliation after retaliation after retaliation. You see wars going on for centuries because of this. Sometimes the most loving things you can do is say, no, that's not right. No, this isn't right for me. This isn't true to who I am. The most loving thing isn't always saying yes, and it isn't always what you think of when you think of being positive. Discipline is positive. It's a sacred divine virtue that is there for the highest good for all beings. It is positive. when used with the other virtues. Fairness, justice. I have referred to justice not as a virtue, but as a universal law. It also is at play with all of the other universal laws, and very much intertwined with the law of karma. The law of balance. The law of love. Are there times when something that you refer to as tough love is required? Yes. If it's really tough love, true, in a true way, yes. There are also people who misuse that and call it that, and it's not. Discernment is essential. And increasingly in your world, it is going to become more and more and more one of the most important things that you all have, and that you all must use and develop further. And it comes with spiritual discipline. Because I'm not just talking about the physical and the emotional that I've been speaking of, or disciplining the mind. Spiritual discipline, which is what spiritual practices are all about. And yes, there are many different types of spiritual practices that do not have to all be serious all the time. Spiritual practices that connect you to true experiences of the bliss and ecstasy that is of your soul, that can bring you into different kinds of ecstatic states in very natural ways. And I'm not talking about things that require substances. I am not talking about that at all. Sound, movement, ritual, ceremony, singing, dancing, expressing the creative power within you. You are all cultural co-creators. Some are more creative perhaps than others, with certain artistic abilities, but you are all creative. You all have the creative power within you. The creative and creation and the creator, they are one. They are not the same manifested, but they are one. You have the creative within you, and you are using your creative potential. There is joy to it. There is happiness to it. There can be bliss to it. It can be an ecstatic thing that you experience. Seek it, and you will find it. Express it, and you will manifest it even more. Your creative potential, your creative power, the creative that exists within you, to use in everything that you do, but also seeks unique expression that you can bring into any spiritual practices whatsoever. Bringing the creative into your spiritual life, knowing that anything you do to honor the creative within you, it is a spiritual practice in and of itself. Especially when it's done with intention. And I will end this message by saying that the creative power in me, all that I have, all that I move, do, am, and am within my being, I give in service, loving, devotional service to humanity, to the earth, to all beings upon the earth, as an act of love. Sourcing all that I have, all that I am, all that I give, all that I do, directly from that creative source of all that is. In a world without end, in a time without end. For life without end. That's the end of the message. Just take a moment to say a silent prayer of thankfulness and appreciation for the message and for the Archangel Michael. And then we complete the process, bringing it full circle back to praise. And for this completing the praise part, I'm just going to do the Adonai Elohim just by itself, just a few times to bring it full circle. Adonai Elohim, Adonai Elohim, Adonai Elohim, Adonai Elohim. And we slowly bring ourselves out of the meditation. As I'm coming up out of the meditation, there was something I just experienced there at the very end, doing that last Adonai Elohim. It's very important to the message that he was talking about regarding the whales and the song lines. The divine names are sacred in all of the spiritual traditions of the world, and there are innumerable names for God. There are innumerable names for masculine and feminine names for the divine, and any of them vibrate on the highest and purest level And they're considered to be non-ordinary. They're not just ordinary sound vibrations. They are that creative source energy being vibrated. Well, I was feeling when I was doing Adonai Elohim just by itself, I was feeling guided to send it into those song lines in the earth and to send it to the whales and to think of them and while singing, chanting divine names, which I use as one of my spiritual practices. So I'm sharing that experience with all of you. Um, my husband and I have found it to be either the highest, number one, or number two or number three, amongst the highest of spiritual practices related to every religion and religion we've looked at and tradition, spiritual tradition we've looked at, even though it may not be obvious and it may not be every lineage within those traditions, but um, yeah, it's very, very widely prevalent as a practice. Just what differs is the names. And so I always tell people, they say, well, what names are going to work best for me? And I'm like, well, the ones that you can feel in your heart and, um, really from your heart, be able to sing them. In this case, I felt like I was singing them not for the whales and for the song lines of the earth, but I was also singing them to it, right? It's to the whales. And that was a cool experience. I never had that happen before when I've done the Adonai Elohim at the end. So, um, wow, is all I have to say. I feel so much lighter after this message. I felt like there was a lifting, a lightening that was taking place from the very beginning when he started talking about the things he was saying, but then it really started shifting, very much lightning, 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 when he started talking about overwhelm and the energy that he was sending into our nervous systems and kind of like the nervous system of the planet. I almost think the song lines are related to the nervous system of the planet. That's just the impression that I get. And maybe that's, yeah, it didn't seem like it's the same. It's part of the, he did say it's part of the crystalline matrix, and they move through those sounds and sound vibrations, and those songs move through the crystalline matrix. Um, yeah, I'm gonna have to ask for more insight onto this, and I think there's more to be revealed. I felt the presence of whales. I could get some very clear visuals of two. I saw two humpback whales, and I saw a visual of a great blue whale, and felt the presence very strongly when I was when they were when he was talking about them that I saw those visuals and felt the presence very strongly. They're very telepathic. This has been my personal experience with them as well. Dolphins and whales both, but dolphins even more so than whales have even stronger telepathy. Like their songs travel for miles and miles. Their telepathy can also do that. And let's see what else. I'm trying to retain anything that I can. Oh, the whole part about discipline. I almost feel like we need to reevaluate our whole relationship to that virtue. And I'm so glad that he brought in the accountability way of helping us to understand it. I was also aware of how pushing it away and not using discipline is a whole other way of punishing, right? Like it's a punishment to over disciplinize, so to speak, use too much discipline, and it's a punishment to not use it or to shirk it. I was aware of that dichotomy at some point, even though he wasn't saying it. So that's something that making sure that it's being said now. I was aware of that. Um, I have to say, I definitely wouldn't have thought that it was a virtue. So there's been some that have been kind of a surprise to me. Resilience was one recently that I still haven't put that. I'm trying to get somehow that parts of that message about the virtue of resilience out. I'm still going to work on that. And the rest of it's fading fast. So I'll let all of you make comments and ask questions now. So please feel free to do so in the chat. And as soon as I take a drink of water, I'll go and look at that. Didn't realize I had some tears in my eyes, but I did. All right. Let me go look at the chat right now. And if it doesn't have to be questions, it could just be any comments you want to make, even if anybody wants to say hi or bye, because we're pretty much going to be signing off after this. In fact, I'll go ahead and stop the recording now